Back on Memorial Day morning, I got up early and I decided to do an audio on why Equestia Girls still gets a mixed reaction. And I didn't have the time to upload it or anything onto YouTube. So I decided to do a video version of it. And I also made the decision to do what I'm doing now, an audio as well. But in the video version, I basically pointed out why I believe Equestia Girls still gets a mixed reaction. And I firmly stand by that opinion. Oh, those opinions, I should say, that I mentioned. Because when you think about it, Equestia Girls, in recent years, if not months, it has been noted that Equestia Girls is supposed to be its own thing. Some people down at Hasbro basically saying that it's supposed to be its own thing, its own continuity, its own canon and all that. And yet, it still relies on Friendship is Magic to help carry it through. If you want a good example of that, the recent shorts that have aired early overseas, the last short, which some people have seen, which some people have kind of noted to be, well, basically the last short, which is called Mirror Magic, some people have not been very positive about it. They say the only saving grace is the interaction and the awkward moments between Sunset Shimmer and Starlight Glimmer. That's the only, they say, the only saving grace about it. But, what I'm saying is, you take a look at Mirror Magic, and basically it still indicates that Friendship is Magic is still being used as a, is that you basically see that Friendship is Magic is still being used as a carrying point for Equestia Girls. It's like Hasbro doesn't trust Equestia Girls to be its own thing. When you look at Equestia Girls, you definitely see Hasbro doing their own take on Monster High, basically trying to create their own Monster High franchise, or at least get a portion of that pie, that financial pie, that is. And I'm not saying it isn't being successful. It is. You have a majority of the fan base. Well, not a major majority, but you have sort of a majority of the fan base carried over from Friendship is Magic to Equestia Girls to support it. But yet you also have a portion of the fan base that's like, yeah, I want to support it. I want to get behind it, but it still relies heavily on Friendship is Magic. And if it's doing that, then how can I get behind it if it's just relying on Friendship is Magic to carry it through? I mean, you take a look at the three out of the four films, okay? 3 out of the 4 films, okay? The first 2 rely on Twilight going to the human world to help Sunset Shimmer. Well, basically the first 2 rely on Twilight going to the human world. Thus, you have a original pony version transforming into a human going there to interact with the human counterparts. And then at the end of the 3rd movie, you have her coming out of the portal again, but this time to come face to face with her human counterpart. And it's like, if you're a fan, even though the stories might be good, you're looking at this and saying, why? Why are you still relying on Friendship is Magic if your intention is to make Equestia Girls its own thing, its own continuity, its own canon, whatever. And if that's not enough, you could say, well, Legend of Everfree was okay. Yeah, but it still hinted at it being connected to Friendship is Magic with that cliffhanger ending. And then you take a look at the recent Equestia Girls shorts that have come out, and the more recent one, Mirror Magic. And if people have seen that, which people have already seen thanks to watching it through various video sharing sites, they ended up watching the Poland version with subtitles. You're still relying on Friendship is Magic because you have Sunset going back to Equestria to get another journal so she can communicate with Twilight of the pony world. And here she meets up with Starlight Glimmer, and the only reason Starlight Glimmer comes back with her to the human world, only temporarily, because it's a one-shot deal, is so Hasbro can sell a Starlight Glimmer Equestria Girl doll. And again, toy-wise, financially toy-wise, that's a great idea, but you're still relying on Friendship is Magic to carry the ball. And I believe that is the overall reason, I should say, that a lot of people have a mixed reaction to it. It's not that they hate it. It's just that they feel that Equestria Girls could do so much better if it was its own separate entity. And it had nothing to do with Friendship is Magic. You could say it's a spin-off of Friendship is Magic. You could say it's got basically the same characters, name-wise and everything, but as human teenagers. You could do all that and find a more original way to introduce a human Sunset instead of relying on a backstory of the Sunset Shimmer being in that world is actually a unicorn pony from Equestria that escaped through the portal and all that. You could here's the thing. In my opinion, I believe a lot of people feel Equestria Girls would get a more positive reception and everything if it didn't rely on Friendship is Magic. You could come up with an original story of original stories. You could come up with an original Twilight character. Here's the thing. You don't have to wait until almost the third movie to bring in the end of the second movie and into the third movie to bring in the human version of Twilight. No. You could actually bring her in right from the start. There you go. You could find a way around it, a more creative way around it, and still have the original story that you want contained within. And I believe, and many fans may or may not agree with me on this, I believe that could have helped Equestria Girls definitely separate itself from Friendship is Magic and let it be its own thing. You create basically Hasbro could have created an original Sunset Shimmer human character, an original Twilight Sparkle character, human-wise, which they did, but they could have done that from the beginning. And they could have created an original Starlight Glimmer character as a human instead of relying on the pony version of her going to the real world. And then on top of that, if you didn't have subtitles when you watched Mirror Magic via these other video sharing sites, who's to say you wouldn't know whether or not Starlight was going to go back? All you know is that the short, spoilers ahead if you will, that the short just ends right there. It fades to black right there with Starlight still as a human. So it makes you, if you didn't have the subtitles to know that, okay, she's only there for a few more days story-wise and then she goes back, then you would think Starlight's there permanently, but she's not. And again, that goes back to the whole Equestria Girls relying on Friendship is Magic deal. The truth be told, Equestria Girls could be great, and apparently according to the fan base and those that have become fans of it, it has proven that it can be great. But it could do even better. It could do even better if it didn't rely on Friendship is Magic to carry it through any stories that it needed. Here's the thing. They could easily, if they want to, reboot Equestria Girls right now. You could leave the movies as they are, but then, if I'm Hasbro, I reboot Equestria Girls and say, this is what Equestria Girls was originally intended to be. Its own thing. No relying on Friendship is Magic. So, I'm just saying, I believe that's why it gets a mixed reaction. Because, like I said, mainly what it is, in the end, is it's nothing more than a cash cow, a cash-in and a cash cow tie-in to what Monster High has done. And Hasbro's noticing that, and they say, hey, we got this franchise, My Little Pony. Well, let's try our own take with them. in a high school setting and whatnot. And there you go. That's why Equestria Girls is around. The same thing with DC. DC saw the success that Monster High has had. They've seen the success that the My Little Pony franchise is having with Equestria Girls. That's why they did Superhero Girls. The same thing with Ever After on Netflix. The same thing with the animated shorts on DC's Descendants. You know, they all saw the success that Monster High had, and they all want that piece of that pie. That's why Equestria Girls was made. But here's the thing. Here's what makes DC Superhero Girls, for example, successful and more accepted by people. Okay? And even Rob from Rob the Wonderful would even agree with this. What makes Superhero Girls successful is it's its own separate entity. It doesn't tie into anything. It doesn't tie into being part of the original animated universe. It doesn't tie into anything in the comics or the mainstream comics. It doesn't tie into the Bruce Timm animated verse of Batman the Animated Series or Justice League or Superman the Animated Series. It doesn't do that. It's its own thing. It's its own continuity. It's its own deal. And a lot of fans pretty much feel the same way about Equestria Girls. If Equestria Girls was treated in the same way, like I said, and you went on to create an original human version of Twilight, original human version of Starlight Glimmer, a human version of Sunset Shimmer, without relying on Friendship is Magic to carry you through, and just be your own original thing like Superhero Girls is being, I believe it would get a more positive reaction. You wouldn't have so much hate against it. But, hey, that's just me. I look at it this way. Hopefully, down the line, they may consider retconning Equestria Girls, doing something that basically allows it to be its own thing, and go from there. But we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully down the line they try their best to at least separate Equestria Girls more so from Friendship is Magic. Hopefully they come up with a solution to do that. And I think honestly the solution is going to be Sunset Shimmer going back to Equestria as a pony and staying there. And thus you could set the table to finally let Equestria Girls be its own thing. And believe me, there's a lot of fans that would appreciate it and would be overjoyed with Sunset Shimmer coming back to Ponyville on a permanent basis and not just for 5-minute, 10-minute deal, to grab a journal, interact with Starlight, and bring her back and bring Starlight back with her to the human world. I think fans would be overjoyed by that if Sunset was to come back on a permanent basis. And I believe that is what's needed. Hopefully Hasbro realizes that, and it happens probably soon, so you can start making Equestria Girls its own separate canon and continuity. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. What do you think? And I'll talk to y'all later.